And thank you very much for the invitation. It's really a unique lifetime experience being here. And I've been in Delos before because I'm from Mykonos, but being here with such a public and with such a mind together, this is really unique. And actually, this section has a title of concluding remarks. So I was really wondering, am I going to give a synthesis, a conclusion of everything we discussed here, of such a diverse set of speakers? There's no way I can do it. But I was thinking, what is common? What do we all have in common here? What an architect from New York City, an artist from India, or a space philosopher from Mexico, or a minister have in common altogether? And what we have in common, obviously, is the sky, is the cosmos. So we all grew under these skies, under the cosmos. The universe is ours, so this is what unites us, and that's, I mean, it's obvious. And actually, maybe the answer is also, we've seen the seven boys and 7 girls that Theseus saved from the Minotaur. Why 7, have you ever wondered? Why do we have 7 days in a week? Why does the Greek alphabet have 7 vowels? Well, these are the 7 planets that the ancient cultures knew to know. So we have, they had Mercury, they had Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, that's 5 planets, plus the sun and the moon. So this is why 7 is magical. There is no other reason for this. Carl Sagan said this back in an article in 1996. And also we said for Alexandra, Siderenia. So Siderenia is it's the iron in Greek, but it is also very familiar to you English speakers, sidereal, and in French, sidéral, which means from the stars. Now, how did Greeks know that the iron is produced in the stars? They didn't, so I'm not trying to say anything here, but it makes you think. Okay, so let me now tell you a bit more about me. So I'm an astrophysicist, actually a solar physicist, and I hope Apollo will make the sun disappear behind me in a while. And working in the European Space Agency, and I have joined the European Space Agency to work on the Solar Orbiter mission, and I will tell you a few things about this. But maybe before, to tell you what else is that unites us here today. And I think what unites us here today, and not only us, also ancient people, everyone now, every culture, the kids, the elders, is our quest for answers, for whatever answer. So we have questions about everything. So yesterday we were listening about questions about well-being, or about what does out of space really mean. Or somebody mentioned Lee Margulis about the symbiosis and how this is an important factor for evolution. So all these questions, I mean, they are so different. Of course, from my point of view, I have only scientific questions, but all of us, we do have existential questions. So how the universe was created, how the solar system works, and will Earth survive? And so maybe now I can take you to the topic of my talk. I know I only have 2 hours, so I'll be fast. So for me, Delos, yes, it's Apollo and Artemis, but it is also the historical part that is mainly mostly interesting to me, which is as Veronique told us yesterday, for the Delian League. So actually, how the city-states united together for a common purpose. And this is exactly what the European Space Agency is. 23 member states from Europe that united together in order to do things that they cannot do alone, on their own, in order to explore the space. And this is not only the states of the European Union, but we also count as our members the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Norway, and we even have Canada as a cooperating state. And in my department, which is the Science Directorate, we are doing science, which is basic research, and that is the mandatory program of the European Space Agency, in which all countries, the small ones as well, and sorry for the word, but small means small in terms of participation in money in the European Space Agency. So all countries have to participate in this program. So all countries of the European Space Agency study the cosmos and the solar system. And starting from the sun, we have a very iconic mission, Solar Orbiter, that has been launched in 2020, in which I have worked a lot. And we want to study basic things that we don't understand. So what you see on the sun, and I'm very happy that it's still there, the surface, if we can call it surface that you see, is at around 6,000 degrees. And if you get a little bit away from the sun, you go farther away, the temperature becomes 1 million. So now imagine that. You get away from the source of energy, and the temperature becomes immediately much, much bigger. We do not know why. So this is a mystery. This is a mystery that this mission has to answer. And of course, you know, I'm a scientist, so you will hear a lot saying, I don't know enough, we don't know why, and unfortunately this is exploited by people who have absolute truths. But we have to admit always, if a scientist thinks that they know everything, that they are not a scientist. Let's go farther away. We have Mercury. So actually, the planets, if you study, the more you study them, the more you see that life on Earth is unique. Obviously, this is not something new, but you can see their environment, how hostile it is, and why we need to preserve life on Earth and the Earth's environment. There is no planet B, as I don't remember who said that, and we have no choice, so we need to preserve life on Earth. So Mercury is at 430 degrees on the side of, during the day, actually. And there's a minus 120 at night. So imagine living there. Obviously, you cannot. There's no way we can find life there. But still, it's the planet which is the most close to the sun. And we have sent in 2018 a spacecraft called Baby Colombo, so the European Space Agency, together with our friends from the Japanese Space Agency. So we sent 2 satellites, and they are going to arrive next year. Actually, this is, it's not easy to get there because we have to decelerate in order not to fall into the sun. And of course, yes, we have to go to visit Mercury, Hermes, who is the fastest god, the messenger, but it does take time to catch. Then we have Venus. Venus is really a hell, is the goddess of beauty, but with a very volcanic temper, because we do have volcanoes there. We don't know if they are active, so this is something we have to find out. So we are going to send a mission to study it. And actually, Venus is really the heart of my talk here today. Venus is very similar to Earth. It has very similar size, very similar mass. It is not very far from the Earth, so it's more or less okay. It's more or less at the same distance if you see this from a cosmic perspective. But yet, it evolved to a hell. So you have 470, I think, degrees on the surface of Venus, which is more than Mercury, which is closer to the sun. So again, you go away. And actually, yeah, because people mentioned Carl Sagan before for the pale blue dot, but Carl Sagan was also a great scientist who did many discoveries, and one of them was to have a theory about why the Venus is so hot. And the theory, which was later confirmed with data, is that Venus has a runaway greenhouse effect because of the carbon dioxide which is in the atmosphere. And because of this, it is so hot. And this is actually what maybe Earth will look like if we don't take care of our planet. So studying Venus is really fundamental. And this is why actually it is so interesting for all scientists, space scientists, that all space agencies around the world want to send a mission in the next decade to study it. So in the same week, some years ago, together with NASA, we announced 3 space missions. There is one by the European Space Agency that is called Envision, because we want to go there and study and see why the sister planet has evolved so differently than the Earth. And 2 others by NASA, Veritas, and Da Vinci. The Indian Space Agency has a Venus orbiter that is going to study. Japan already sent a spacecraft some years ago. And the topic is so important that we want that all agencies talk together. So this is a great tool for science diplomacy. And we have created a working group where we invite all scientists involved in all these missions to work together ahead of the missions that will be launched. And we already have Japanese and South Korean, and we send an invitation also to the Indian Space Agency to join us. I will not be very long. 2 minutes? 1. Okay, great, thank you. So I'm not going to tell you about all these missions, great missions that we have, sorry. You can ask me later on. But we have missions for which, at least for the names, we always get inspired by the humanities. We have a mission that is looking at the geometry of the universe. We call it Euclid. We launched this 2 years ago. We have Plato that we will launch in 2026. Okay, we have a mission that is called SMILE. This has nothing to do, that studies the aurora. This is a collaboration with China because we believe that collaborating with all partners around the world is fundamental. And this is what unity is about. And I will stop here. I think that unity is what defines the European Space Agency. Fragility of the Earth is something very important that we have to take into account in order not to finish like Venus. Thank you very much.